eye on this particular website for the dresses. It's actually a retail website and it's called sonderflor.com. Now, a lot of you may say, oh, yes, we know all about these, but I'd never heard of them until a few months back. I just seemed to come across it and I thought the dresses looked lovely. And there must have, I think it was one that I saw on Instagram where it was this particular dress here. So I went and had a look at it, and it's a linen wrap dress in a shirt. Oh no, it's not that one. Let me find the one that I looked at. It was the one that I looked at was, although oh, there it is. The one that I looked at was this one, and it was a shirt dress with a collar, rounded collar there, and the waist and buttons down the front, and then it just basically was a full skirt. And what I liked about it was when it's this skirt is a really full circular skirt, but it also had, you can't tell as much in this one, but it actually what they've done is they've pleated it there, but one of the other ones had little gathers on it. So for all it was a big circular skirt, it also had gathers on it. If I go and have a look at the dark one, perhaps you can see it. No, maybe if I go for the green, you will see it a bit better. There you go. You can see it's basically got some sort of gathers. It's almost a full skirt. The other thing I liked about it was down here was an inner lining, and it's actually not the full lining. If I can get there, it's actually a band that goes around the inside that forms a hem. I love that idea, and I wondered if maybe that was like had like a horsehair hem to it to make it stand out. But I don't think it does because when she's walking straight like that, it just hangs down. So I think that that is just a piece of nice white linen that goes on there, or white lawn, let's say. But I just loved this particular dress and I liked the colour. I thought it was rather nice and I thought I want to make one very like it. And so what I did was, the only thing I wanted to change was I didn't want the sleeves like this. I didn't want to have those kind of sleeves. I wanted to make them just an ordinary sleeve with no fastening and make them about here on my arm, just above my wrist. And I liked everything else about it. So I thought, how can I go about making this dress myself? And my favorite place to go to is sewist.com. So I went to sewist.com. I'm recording. So I'm going to sewist.com and I want to make this dress. I really like that dress. So I'm going to start with dress. And it looks like it's fitted. So let's say fitted. And for me, although that's quite long, that would be midi, but because I'm short, a maxi is long enough for me. So I'm going to go for maxi. And it's got a waistband there. So I'm going to have a waistband. Well, forget about that. We're talking about the sleeves. So the sleeves are just regular armholes. So we'll go for regular armholes. And the neckline is a round neckline. I think it's going to have a collar. Going to have a collar, and if you look at that collar, it's rather like a Peter Pan collar. It's not got a point on it or anything, so we're going to go for a Peter Pan collar. Now, is it a front closure? It's a button closure to the waist, so I'm going to go to button closure to the waist. And it's got a dress with a waist seam, so I'm going to have a dress with a waist seam. And the skirt is a full circle, but it's actually gathered. If you look at that, it's actually gathered. So a full circle gathered. So I think what I'm going to have to do is, so I'm wondering if I should do something like a circle, semicircular, and maybe add some openings, make it so that it's gathered a bit more. So I might do a semicircular skirt, and then I can open it up a bit and add some gathers. So now I have to design the front darts. So the front darts, if I click on that, she basically only has a dart down the front at the waistline. So if I scroll down, there it is, all front darts transferred to the waist. So I'll click on that. And then the back darts, I don't think there'll be a dart at the top here. I think there'll just be the dart at the bottom. So I'll click on that and find the one. There it is at the top, the back waist dart. I think it's just going to be one dart at the top, at the bottom on the waist. Sleeves, I'm going to add the sleeves, and probably I'm going to go for 3/4 length sleeves. You can go for other lengths. There are some where you can add a little cuff to it. See if there's a one like the little cuff that they show you on the drawing. That could be a close one to it, or there might be another one. There's another one a bit like that, but I don't think her sleeves were as gathered as that. You could reduce the size of your sleeve and put that little gather on, or yeah, I think that's about all there is that's very close to it. So I'm going to go back up here to the 3/4 length sleeve, which is right at the top here. 3/4 sleeve, click on that. And it's going to start creating it. And that's what I've created. I think that's quite close. Now, for some reason, it hasn't got the line there, but I will have a waistband there. So I'm now going to so the colour that the fabric that I'm using is a green. It's not linen. It's like a linen and it's a dark green. So if I go there and I try and get something close to the green that I'm making it, it's kind of a moss green, the one that I'm making it. Let's see. There. That's roughly what I'm going to be making mine like. So this is what I've designed and this is what mine's going to be like. The fabric I've got from Pound Fabrics, it's like a linen. It creases very easy. It's lighter than a linen. Obviously not as expensive as a linen, but I think it's going to turn out quite nice. So now I've got that. In my case, because I've joined sewist.com, I have my own measurements, so I can enter my measurements here and it will make the pattern to the size of my figure. If you don't have that, you can choose a standard size. But as I say, mine has my own measurements here, and your units you can decide whether you want centimeters or inches or whether you want seam allowances, and then it will print it on universal A4 paper. And there you go. The pattern is $295, which you can't argue with. You can also get a free preview where it sends the preview to you that you see what it looks like, which is very similar to this. And so that is what I'm going to do. I'm going to make this dress and I shall let you see what it turns out like. So this is the fabric from Pound Fabrics. Plain linen look viscose. It's only $3.75 a metre, and the green that I've gone for is this one, which is like a dark green, moss green. So this is the colour that I've gone for. I've also bought some very similar to this, but it's more of a rigid colour in a fuchsia pink. That was what my first intention was, to do something like that. But I quite fancied seeing that other one, that the green one appealed to me. I also quite might get the blue, but we'll see what that's like after I've done them. Yeah, there's some lovely colours and they're not bad for $3.75 for a metre. I think it's going to take me about 3 or 4, maybe even 5 metres of this fabric. So we'll see what it turns out like. So this is the finished dress, and as you can see, on the waistband I threaded some very thin cord-like elastic, and I threaded it through the over edging, the overlocking, the serging stitches on the inside of that waist, so that it created a kind of a gather on this circular skirt as well. I'm very pleased with this. It's turned out very nice. I haven't put the thick wide hem on this particular one, but if I make another one I certainly will be doing that on the further dresses. But I thought it was a lovely dress. It hangs beautifully. Considering it's cheap fabric, I was very impressed with it. I raised the waistband a bit, probably again on reflection, maybe a little bit too high. I will drop the next one down about another 1.5 inches because I think it needs to be a bit lower, and I think that will look a lot better. But it's a lovely circular skirt, and I'm very pleased with it. So at that, tell me what you think about the pattern. I'm going to love you and leave you and catch you next time. Bye.